Welcome to the circus. Please align with me. And we are here for the good of the colony in general for this channel, but it is the episode about Matsu. Your favorite tells me exactly what type of person you are. Because if you only have one specific favorite, it's a very specific phase in your life. For what I know is that a lot of shows that we have has implicit bases based on someone with neurodivergency. And if we're talking about it, then we're talking about Full Metal Alchemist, just for people to figure out their disability and trying to grow regardless of whatever situation they have. If it's Mob Psycho 100, it's for how people with their perception in society against autistic people. And then you can go and even just go for Steven Universe, and that one is a trans allegory the whole time, and it's great for growth and toxicity in life, just in general. We're over here for the Osamatsu-san show, which focuses on the issues of society, and it does not explicit speak on them being autistic or the sextuplets. Never talks about it, but we know all of them fucking are, because otherwise they'd have a stupid job anyway. And all of them has a very specific style of their autistic behaviors, and that's based on their choice itself. With being a 1 out of 6, so there is no snowflakes there. They all have the same face, same faces. Yeah. So all of them tries to create as an individual in a monolith, and they're all autistic. If you have a favorite, it tells me about what type of autist you are, because in many different phases of my life, I resonate with more of a specific Matsu. I have never resonated with Osamatsu at all, because I fucking hate how inconsiderate he is. But that's just because I'm high masked and my whole life has been people pleasing. So I don't know how to do that for all of them. But let me tell you about all of that. I resonated with every single one of them. Right now, I'm resonating with Jushimatsu and probably a little bit of Karamatsu and Ichimatsu. I wrote for you guys. So ultimately, I'll get to each of them and the type of person that they are, the character, and what you resonate with, and the type of autist you are yourself. We already know that Osamatsu is ultimately inconsiderate. He only cares for himself, and so for that I say he is self-preservation alone. He will only give a shit about making sure that it aligns with him to himself, and he has no filter. He is the first one, so by himself, he is the first, which means that he holds the face of the entire sextuplet. It seems that because of the way Osamatsu is, he does not rely on anyone else. Each other person has to figure out on their own, and he just figures out that society doesn't give a shit about us as a sextuplet, because he doesn't say anything, but he's autistic. Then the whole thing is just not worth it to mask at all. Osamatsu-san, this motherfucker has no sense of masking whatsoever, and he will do exactly as he knows. So if you resonate with that, it's because you're at this point where society will not give you any shits whatsoever, and you are giving a shit about only yourself and not giving yourself care for others. You understand that as an autist, they don't care about you, so why should you care about anyone else? So that's Osamatsu. Let's get to the next one. Karamatsu. Fucking bitch. Fuck. Anyway, I didn't want to waste on papers. If you resonate with Karamatsu, his type of a character is that you, specifically an autist, you deserve the abuse that people inflict on you. But you still try to be cool. Karamatsu tries to be cool based on the perception of others around them. So, as an autistic person, you can look at somebody and you can see, oh my God, that person's cool because they have a huge inflated ego. Most of the time, if you have someone popular in school, they had a very specific character, which was very, they only gave a shit about themselves, but it somehow worked. So Karamatsu doesn't even fucking know that it only works if you believe in it. And he does not. And he knows that he's autistic, so he won't fix any of that. And so he internalizes that and gets to all that when he gets the hate, he'll just try and mask or people please to get a little bit better than he does. He still tries to make people happier to be with him, and he doesn't really get that people don't give a shit about him, and he still supports the abuse that he gets from others. all of the all of the sextuplets, they all understand that there is abuse in general by society for being autistic as is. That's why they don't have fucking jobs. Then we get over. So if you resonate with Karamatsu, you think that you hate yourself. And you think that other people can be really cool. And you try to do it a little bit based on your own flavor, but that's not how coolness works. And to be honest, you kind of believe that you deserve all of that. But this one's gonna piss me off too. Oh, it's a little bit better. When we get to Chodomatsu, I resonated with Chodomatsu a lot of times. Chodomatsu uses a lot of common sense and efficiency and functionality that he will kind of glue the sextuplet in general. So he masks the best based on society, but he himself still believes he can't do shit. So he understands the way things are supposed to be and how you're supposed to create and do things as an adult. So he knows how it goes and he knows how to talk about it. But he still thinks that as a person, he can't handle to be an adult at all. So while he knows vocally that he can be more adult and do more things, he cannot because he doesn't think he's deserving of trying to be an adult. So even though he knows it, even though you yourself, you know the way things could be to be a more grown adult, you don't want to because you know that the society will not protect you or appreciate you for it at all. So Chodomatsu just does the best for the sextuplet, and that's it. And he doesn't think that, like all the rest of them, still a piece of shit. Uh, being a piece of shit is subjective, and it just means what you think you deserve and what you can and cannot do. Ichimatsu. That's better. Anyway, Ichimatsu. I'm aligning with that still because I love animals. Ichimatsu he'll always immediately bully himself first. It's to avoid other people to do that. So self-deprecation is to avoid from people to be mean to you. And he will avoid the people entirely, even just to be perceived. So he will not go outside. He will not do any of that. That's why he has hygiene issues. Because he assumes that people will be mean to him. He knows that they will view him the same way he is. And ultimately, he can't handle having people being mean to him. That's why he has a very fragile heart. That he won't even spend time with adults when he can. He'll avoid speaking to anyone. And he only feels appreciated from animals, specifically cats. He loves cats. Cats because cats have a good character. So most of the time, I don't know if he knows that cats are witches, but cats have a sense of guiding and love, and they have a sense of um, they give a shit about the people. Like, if you are not loved by a cat, it means you're a piece of shit, truly. So, if he can't be loved from the society, he'll go find it from cats because cats have um, a high sense of self and character of others. That's his way to do it. So if you align with Ichimatsu, it means you also already uh beat them to the punch. Anyone who abuses you, you'll start with it first because you assume that everyone's going to teach you like shit because you're autistic. Especially, this is very common for autists to connect with animals because animals don't have a sense of um hierarchy other than the animal rule, you know? They don't give a shit about how you look, how you groom yourself, how you live as an adult. They don't care about that. So the more you do with that, that's how you feel appreciated and feel in love and connected with people, which only is animals. With people, we try to avoid all of those adults because other people will just be mean and they have all these very specific rules that fuck everything up, and then you're just not appreciated anyway, which is it's just this still applies to all neurotypicals, sort of, but it's like 400 times the amount, or 400%, four times 400% of how much bullshit you get from society as autistic people. I'm feeling good about this Jushimatsu. That Jushimatsu has gotten to such a point that this guy is very optimistic and he does things that he gives a shit about. He only cares about certain things that align with what he enjoys. But he also specifically avoids intelligence because he knows that the knowledge or intelligence comes with certain costs. So what he understands from all of these people, he can even just know this from Chodomatsu. That Chodomatsu uses more of his intelligence, and he has more things that people rely him on that. And that's the same with Karamatsu. That the smarter you are, the more they're gonna rely shit on you and demand more shit on you. And Jushimatsu understands that straight up, it will not matter how intelligent you are because the demands will not come with appreciation about it. So he will just be as dumb as fuck as he wants because it's not going to be what he wants to do. He mostly is very creates his own isolated happiness. So he does things that he likes to do, especially, you know, baseball. Well, what the fuck else does he do? Crazy shit. He does very crazy stuff, and this is the way he can rely on mostly. He only masks if it's a very drastic with extreme punishment in society in general. So it's only a very formal situation, in which case he'll mask. But other than that, the rest of his life he will not, because ultimately he understands that the mask itself will not give you shit, because otherwise Chodomatsu would have a job, or people would pay him for whatever the stuff he does, or people would appreciate Karamatsu because at least he tries to be himself, and people don't value that at all. So to Jushimatsu, or if you align with Jushimatsu, which I feel right now, for creating the happiness or being more optimistic, that ultimately I do that a little bit, where nothing fucking matters. They will not give a shit about you societally. That if no one in the whole system is not gonna give you shit, any goodness, any appreciation, then you might as well do it yourself. Which is not, it's not a good thing. You're still autistic, and you have a whole society that doesn't give a shit about you. So that's not gonna, that's just like kind of a better version they have. Technically, every single one of them has imposter syndrome. Let's go to Toddy. Toddy, man. This one looks like shit. I don't know. It's from the Wikipedia. What the fuck do I know? So, Todomatsu has no heart. Todomatsu has the ultimate mask. More so than Chodomatsu and Karamatsu. Because he is more effective about the way they have in the systems that we have in society. He will talk to girls. He will talk to other dudes. He will go to mixers who go places. He will talk to people because he has no heart. It's not to say that he has no heart. It's because every single one of them is autistic. Todomatsu is the ultimate mask that he has abandoned himself as a person his whole life. That the only thing that he's valued for is to be the perception that people expect of that. He's the ultimate mask. Um, I say that he ultimate mask, and he sold it for a heart. And when he befriends people, he will abandon them because ultimately he doesn't think that he can maintain it. Most of the time, he understands that if he could maintain it, he also knows that his other fucking autistic sextuplet, all of these bitches will try and ruin it for him too. So even if he were to believe he could maintain it, his connection with his brothers, that he would still get kicked out of that, which we've seen in his episodes all the time, right? And ultimately, he does understand that he has no sense of self whatsoever. He gives no shits about who he might be. He likes to be pretty, which is very surface level, and he will not give a shit about who he is as a person, and he doesn't even want to acknowledge maybe things he likes. He doesn't know what he likes at all. And he will be the prettiest of all of them. They all have the same face. But he knows how to mask the most that he thinks he's the prettiest. I did resonate with Todomatsu too, which I'm not doing that. I don't resonate with Toddy as much, but I do know how he was my favorite because I masked really hard. So he'll just straight up, he will tell himself that he loves himself, which he doesn't believe whatsoever, and he will tell himself he's beautiful. He tells himself he's pretty and he's the cutest. That's the only thing he tells himself, because that's the only thing he values of himself, which is his physical and perception for others. So he'll just say that because he values how much he worked on the mask. So Totomatsu and Toddy has had jobs. He has had jobs. He has maintained jobs, which I would say, I mean, autists in general have tried jobs. They always get fucking fired. I don't know if Toddy would have been fired. You can't tell if Toddy would have been fired or being associated with his brothers, bro. But it doesn't matter because as a person who doesn't have sextuplets, yeah, my siblings are probably like mine, all of them autistic, and I do have 5 siblings, but okay, maybe. Um, the Even though you're super masking, people don't give a shit about you societally, and you go against the grain for just by being existing. We already know that all of that being autistic is a challenge to the capitalistic system that they have, which means they question things or just straight up they think differently, which means if you think differently even a little bit means you are a challenge to the status quo. So I don't think Toddy would have kept his job if he was a single person from there wouldn't be any brothers. So if you resonate with Toddy, it's because you're super fucking masked and you can't even maintain, you don't even know who the fuck you are, I'll be real. To be honest, the ones who is the most, all of them has a sense of self, uh, conflictingly, because all of them does feel like they're seen as really the 6 of them, that they still look the same and they try to alter, but it doesn't matter for the whole society, honestly. So which type of Matsu you are tells anyone what type of autist you are. I don't even know. I didn't even say if it was ladies or not. But mostly Osamatsu-san is for mostly women. It's a lot of fujoshi or just women in general without having the BL Matsu stuff. I don't give a shit about either. And ultimately, for the most of the viewers are femmes. I'm sure there's going to be some men who resonate with the Matsus, but that's only if they're high masking. Because if you, a lot of, especially if you're a white um, autistic male in America, you had a lot of support. You don't have the same for if you're a person of color, if you're femme, if you're queer, and any other version of a disability aside from autism, you would have a different reaction from all of this. And that's why, because the Matsus are all masking and they don't ever explicit say that they're autistic, and the system, the franchise doesn't even acknowledge it at whatsoever. They never talk about the autism. But ultimately, we see over and over again of all of these autistic behaviors and the resistance of society in general. So, yeah, I'm an Ichi Jushi ish. And I usually try to be Choro in Karamatsu and Toddy if I was having a job. But I don't want to keep all of these in general. I really want to build community anyway. And it would mean people who give a shit about all of that. Sometimes it just means you have to value your speech and the way you say things or the way you view things. If you acknowledge that you matter, it helps to connect with people who would feel the same way or would value at some point. But for now, it's more Matsu. And this is me just them as a grown adult. Um I haven't watched the movie for a couple years, like 2 years, and I didn't see the third season this year either. I just finished watching the first, second, and a couple random movies from YouTube and all of that. Um, so I guess I don't have the perception or the insight of when they were in high school, but if we know who they are as an adult, the versions that they did in high school is the same type that they are now. It has painted you to the way that they are now. And so if I was supposed to be like, here's how they were in high school, that is how they are now. The way they interacted in the world as high schoolers is how they were the adults they are now. Like how you are right now as an autist. The way you had your high school thing was always the way you're raised paints who you are as a grown adult until you unlearn versions of whatever the fuck it is, you know? So yeah, that's the Matsus that we're talking about. Yeah. If you wanna if you want me to dive down into more autist animes, the first one I would choose is MP100, which is so good. Okay, it's oh, I could if people gave a shit about this, I would do for MP100, but I'm gonna wait on that. Oh, I want the manga of that so bad. I want that one bad, but I can't afford shit. So, anyway, that's the end of that. We're gonna close it down. And thank you for coming to listen to all this stuff. And oh yeah, that doesn't explain anything now, does it? Bye, autists, spams, and maybe some dudes.